So, do you believe in omens or harbingers? Our first day on the trail, August 21st, was the day of the total solar eclipse. Our trailhead shuttle driver, Brian, dropped us and our gear off at the Cottonwood Pass trailhead promptly at 8 a.m. It was only after he left that we realized he still had our trekking poles with him in his SUV. We had to wait until 11:30 a.m. when Brian returned with another pair of JMT hikers to get our poles back. And so here we are, folks. We are at the trailhead and we are finally ready to go hiking. We had a little problem with our driver this morning who took off and left us here without our hiking poles, so we had to wait. It took a 3-hour delay to get started this morning, but we're still very excited about what we're going to do. Kath, any words of wisdom? Anything strike you at this moment before we put the first boot into the dirt of the trail?
I'm just thanking God for this opportunity and this beautiful weather and just ready to go. So I hope you're all tuned in at home because you're going to get a real treat. Here comes our first pack train. All kinds of goodies up and down the trail here today. If you want to get stuff moved around, this is the way to do it. Looking good there, young man. Looking good. And where do we come from, honey? We came from way down there.
Way down there, right?
Way down there.
And this looks like we're getting ready to go over the top of our very first pass out of 14 passes.
So nothing's worse than going over a pass and then realize that you actually have to go up to get to the lake we're going to. What do you think of Chicken Springs?
It's beautiful.
Are you glad to be here?
I'm glad to be here, but I sure wish I'd have drug my pack up that last hill.
Yeah,
And I gotta
because there's
go
a
back and
beautiful
get it.
spot right there
I'm gonna.
that we could go camp right there.
Yeah, let's go.
Is that good for you?
That is good for me.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you were the lead dog all day today, I'm going to let you go camp out in a camp spot over there, and I'm going to bring your pack up for you. Give me a kiss.
You can't do them both at once.
No.
Okay.
All right, so here's Camp Goodrich. We're all set up for tonight. And you spend the night here at Chicken Springs Lake. The dirty water goes down this tube right here. This filter right here filters the water, gets it clean, and then the clean water goes down and fills up the clean back up. Got my jacket here. Laid out some of my socks to kind of dry out. There's about an hour's more worth of sun with that. And then once it goes behind that ridge line there, I think it's all right, here we are. It's the beginning of day 2. We spent the night at Chicken Springs Lake. We got up about a little before 6 this morning. Today we're getting ready to leave. We've already packed all of our items up. Going to be heading down the trail. We're going to try to get to Rock Springs sometime today. That's about 7 miles down the road. So we're hoping that we can get there, and then the following day make it into Crabtree and possibly up to Guitar Lake for our assault on Mount Whitney. What was the highlight of the day for you yesterday, Kath?
Getting to camp.
It was a long day.
Yesterday was a long day. It was hard. It was a lot of up, a lot of rock. My pack wasn't balanced right, so I was uncomfortable the whole time.
And the altitude.
The altitude, 11,300 and something. So I had a headache during the night, but it's fine this morning. So.
Any words of wisdom before we start, honey?
Nope, none. Let's just do it.
All right, the Nike moment.
Yep.
Let's just do it. road furniture. This is going downhill. And you can see Kat picking her way down through the road furniture there. Be very careful because the steps are not evenly measured like they are at the mall. And you've got to make sure that you don't hurt yourself there trying to go too fast. So here we are, boys and girls. This is day 3, the beginning of day 3. We didn't do a video for coming into camp yesterday because it was so late when we got here. We got here about 6:15 and we had to set up camp and go to sleep. So I wanted to give you a kind of a little video look at our campsite. The sun is just starting to come up. Kath and I have had our breakfast already, our coffee, which is the most important thing every morning.
And eggs.
And eggs. And actually I think sunrise was probably about 6 this morning, but we're in this canyon down here by Rock Creek, and that's one of the reasons the sun hasn't started to come through. You can start to see it there in the background behind our tent, but a beautiful campsite. I want you to see this tree that kind of overhangs our tent. Beautiful pine tree. See the sun starting to stream through there right now. Kath and I did a 12 and a half mile day yesterday to get over from Chicken Spring Lakes to where we're camping here. We're just short of where we begin our ascent over our next pass, which is going to be the Gallo Pass. And we're going to try to take that on and get over to Crabtree by lunch. And hopefully we'll make a decision there as to whether or not we're going to proceed on to Whitney and climb Mount Whitney. I'm going to take it one step at a time. What it looks like in the inside of our tent once we've got our camp set up. So we're going to go inside, take a quick look. Immediately right here you can see Kathy's sleeping bag right there. And this is her bag liner that she used last night to keep her nice and toasty. There's one of her dry bags there to keep her gear dry in the event we get some rain. See her hiker hat down there. Some wag bags, or wag gear, which is what you use when you're going to the restroom. There's her bear canister. And her pillow, and if you can see behind there, she's got a bunch of her other clothing and junks piled in back there. Another dry bag. Scan over to my side here. In the back there, you can see my backpack with my double T on it. There's my pillow. There's my sleeping bag. Here's one of my dry bags, that white bag there. There's my 2 water bottles down there. And right next to the water bottles is my wag gear. There are my boots. And they're great boots. And I don't know whether I showed you our tent pole setup, but the way that those poles are raised, those are actually my hiking poles. And we lash them together with those orange straps that you see there. And that's what forms the pole that goes in our tent. And the last thing I would note is our mosquito netting, because it's actually a bathtub. You can see the mesh there, and it goes all the way down to the bottom.
and it's attached to the bathtub, which is basically our ground cloth underneath the tent at night. You can see that. I'm going to back out, and I'm going to zip up the mosquito netting so you can see what that looks like.
So here we are in the up to Gallo Pass. Started at 9,500 feet, going up over 11,500, proceeding on the Crabtree. So the big mountain you can see there, the direction the camera's aimed is, I think that's Mount Gallo. I could be wrong, but I think that's Mount Gallo. Peak on that is 12,000 feet. So I'll kind of give you some perspective. We're still climbing the shoulder here, and we're going to be going up to 11,000 feet. Gallo Pass at last. This is the view from just over the pass. We just finished doing it here. We did it in about 3.5 hours. We're doing better than 1.4 miles an hour when we were moving, which is really good for us old folks. Scenery is just unbelievable. There's Mount Gallo over there. That's the 12,000 footer. If you're interested in taking a little side trip, which Kath and I are not, you can just scramble up there at the top and say you got a 12,000 foot peak in your booty bag there. We're enjoying a well-deserved lunch, are we not, Kath? I think we probably have about 3 miles left down to Crabtree Meadow, and again we'll make a decision once we get to Crabtree whether we're going to continue on the Whitney, depending on how we feel. Well, good morning everyone. This is the morning of day 4. It's about 10:15 in the morning. We're going to be heading out here in about 5 minutes from Crabtree Meadow, which is how far we got last night from Rock Creek, so it's about 9 miles. We had to make a difficult decision last night, but it was the correct decision, and that was we're not going to be proceeding up to Charolette Lake and then Mount Whitney. It just is not going to work into our schedule. And today we're going to leave Crabtree Meadow. We're going to proceed up towards Bighorn Plateau. So I hope all of you are doing well. Kath, do you have any words of wisdom?
I have learned that if I loosen my waistband on my pack, that I actually can balance it better. So I'm learning slowly, and I've also learned that we brought way too much food, way too much. So when we get to Independence for our resupply, I am ditching probably half of what I packed.
So I hope you're enjoying our adventure with us, and stay tuned.
Yeah.
Where you guys headed?
Happy Isles.
Happy Isles?
Happy Isles all the way, yeah. But today we're going to Tyndall Creek.
Tyndall.
Yeah.
Well, have fun. We're going to be about halfway. We're going to try to get to Shepherd's Pass tonight.
Huh.
Dallas-Fort Worth doesn't have views like this. And if they do, as my wife would say, they'd be fake. Fake views.
All right. I'm going to see if I can send a message.
I'm sure that as we get up on the top of the plateau, we're only a couple hundred feet below where the plateau is supposed to be, and you can see that ridge line right there. Not that big bump right there. We're not going to go to the top of that, but that ridge line that runs just in front of that, up there where that last bare tree is up there on the hillside, is where the trail's taking us. And I think that's going to be the top up there at Bighorn Plateau. So here's the view from our tent. We camped out just past Bighorn Plateau, but a pretty spectacular view, and we earned it today. Hiked close to 10 miles. Those valleys over there has got all that snow on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'd say we have about 10 more minutes of sunlight, even that. All right, here it is, the morning of our 6th day on the trail, and that's all we got to do today. I'm sorry, that I was lying on that. Got to just go straight up about 800 feet there, Forester Pass, and then once we get to the top, we're going to try to go all the way to Bubs Creek today, which is about 10 miles down the road, but it's all downhill.
You can see the hiker right here going up.
That's where the switchbacks start.
Switchbacks go back and forth and back and forth. Oh, there's one up higher too, you can see.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
lady
there's-
hasn't stopped. She started and she has not stopped to breathe once.
Yeah, and there's somebody coming down there too.
Amazing to me.
Yeah. But anyway, this is where we spent the night last night. I want to turn around again and show you what our view was from our tent. So Kath and I are going to turn around and you can see what we saw yesterday. This lake over here this morning is absolutely gorgeous. You can see the reflection in the lake water of the surrounding mountains down there. But anyway, as the case may be, Kath and I are ready. We're both feeling pretty good, aren't we, Kath?
I'm feeling great, except I'm a little nervous about this one.
Yeah, she's a little nervous, so we're not going to be separated by very much. And she's going to march right up there.
I am.
And in an hour from now, or a little more, we'll probably be done. We'll be doing our 1 mile
Well, we'll
an
be
hour.
up at the
which is-
top. We won't
Yes.
be done for the day.
We'll be done with Forester Pass.
There you go, because we
which
got
is-
another 9 miles downhill. Yay.
Right.
All downhill.
But this is our third official pass. And Forester tops out, as we've already said, at 13,100 something.
It's high.
It's high. We stepped at 12,000 last night. We won't have to sleep there tonight. We're going to be down around 9,500 to 10,000 tonight. There's Kath beginning the initial ascent to Forester Pass. Straight up. About 25 or 35 switchbacks. All right, Sam is on the initial ascent in Forester Pass. A little snow on the edge of the switchbacks. Kath is well ahead of me this morning. I can see her about 2 switchbacks above me. However, she's a little nervous about that narrow part at the top. So she said she's going to wait till then when she gets up there. All right, here's a plaque on the trail up. It's a memorial, and it reads, "While engaged in trail construction, an accident at this point resulted in the death of Donald I. Downs, born September 29th, 1911, died September 2nd, 1930, which means he was only 19 years old. His fellow workers placed a stablet to his memory. Beautiful view down there of the mountains reflecting off the lake down there. Up and up. And up we go. We're only about 300 feet from the top. Just talked to a hiker that said a couple of more zigzags and we'll be up there. All right, here's the thing that Kath has dreaded for a year now, and it's the snow chute at Forester Pass. It's right below the pass, and we are presently crossing the snow chute. Disappointingly, for all you video watchers, there is no snow. It's nice and dry. Yes,
Kathy is definitely happy. And so the snow chute encompasses this little semicircle of the trail. You see that little rock fall that Kath is approaching. That's the most dangerous part when there is snow there because it is so narrow. And once she gets around across that little rock fall, essentially all mortal danger to snow until we get to the other side is over. But we're looking back across the valley again. Gorgeous day. We only have probably maybe 100 feet to go, and we will have conquered Forester Pass. I'm going to do a little videoing as I go across so you can kind of get some perspective about the trail. Looking at it from here, it's not nearly as narrow as it's perceived as you perceive it here on the video. So we'll give you a little thrill here to go up over. Okay, I'm right on the edge of that little rock fall, and straight up there, once you get up there, the trail kind of zigzags up there, we'll be on top of Forester Pass. There's the trail. You can imagine if there's half of that chute's filled with snow, people have to walk to the outside edge there, and that's when it can get very dangerous. And if you're trying to cross it when it's snowy, especially coming downhill, that can be a serious issue. All right, see you at the top. So you want to give me your name and how far you've come?
Yeah, sure. I'm Phil Weckesser. I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. First time on the JMT?
First time on the JMT.
Where'd you start?
Left Happy Isles on August 9th.
Okay.
You've been booking.
I've been booking.
And you're going to be done when?
I hope to summit Whitney tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
And be in Lone Pine tomorrow night. But we'll see how that takedown's going.
So how's the trail down to Bub's Creek from here?
It's pretty good. You've got some snowfield. You can see where they're crossing it there.
Yeah.
And then that ridge over there, you've got to cross over.
Okay, so.
Very good. What about your marmot?
Oh, so we got a marmot up there? Oh, there he goes. We got a couple down at campsite down there. There's our marmot. He wants to get my YouTube channel information too. Hey, buddy. Excuse me. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I don't care at all.
Excuse me. I think he...
Yeah. You want to wash your hands?
Excuse me.
Point. It is. Absolutely gorgeous weather.
It is.
Holy
The
cow,
sky is unbelievable, isn't it?
I've had like 60 minutes of rain this entire trip.
Is that right?
So,
That's awesome.
I've had 3 sprinkles the whole time.
Is that right?
Clouds, awesome photography. I've had clouds every day for 2.5
This
weeks.
is a once in a lifetime thing, isn't it?
I'm rushing it with the camera. Rushing it.
And you know what? You get the pictures, because I've watched a lot of YouTube and that kind of stuff. It just doesn't do it justice. As beautiful as it is on YouTube, to be here to get the ambiance, you know, your own personal wide angle look at it. It's just beautiful.
I agree.
All right, honey, we gotta interview you now. You just came over Forester Pass.
I did.
Did you survive?
I survived, but that's because God's angels were with every step I took. Every step.
Was there any snow on the snowshoe?
No.
Well, that ought to make you
Wonderful.
see. So that's one more angel was out there brooming the snow off just for you.
Yeah, but now we got to get a picture.
Yeah, we do. So here's what a lot of the trail has looked like for about the last mile. Not the best of footing when you're walking through these small rocks. So you have to be very judicious about where you place your feet. We had a report earlier today of a lady that had broken her arm and was going to have to hike over Kearsarge Pass to get out to get medical treatment. Fortunately, she had someone with her who was going to help her. Okay, so the trail ends here. Actually picks up on the other side of that snowbank there. And you can see Kat is making her way down. There is an alternate path down there, but I don't think she needs to go quite that low. She stays just up against the bank. Snowbank should be able to track back up there and get back on the trail. Well, it finally looks like we're going to get out of all of these rocks we've been hiking through for about the last 2 miles on our descent from Forester Pass down towards Bubbs Creek. See Kat down there. She's at the next to the last switchback. Eventually she's going to come down that trail there. It's like one more switchback after that, and then we'll be essentially on the floor. And as the trail proceeds along over to that lake over there, it actually looks like it becomes more earthen and not quite as rocky, which ought to help us in our progress. I'm trying to get to Bubbs Creek tonight for camping. So we're about 3 miles from Bubbs Creek. We're looking down the beautiful Kings Canyon area. Unbelievable. So a big change of trail. We were on rocks there for quite a while, and now it's all turned into this nice, soft. There's a few rocks in there, as you can see, and shady forest undergrowth as we go further down towards Bubbs Creek. How are you?
I'm doing good, you?
That's Pets for Vets. Awesome. Are you a service member or
Yes,
previous
sir.
service? Thank you for your
veteran.
service. Thank you for your
Army.
service. Oh, you were Army?
Yeah.
I was a Navy guy. But what is the dog? Is he in training or?
No, he's done. He's a service dog.
Oh, he is a service dog
Yeah.
now? Is he
Done
yours?
for training. Yeah, he's my
He's yours. Awesome. So what branch of it? You said you were in the Army.
Army infantry.
Yeah, where'd you serve?
Iraq for 15 months.
Awesome. I gotta tell you how much we appreciate what you guys do over there for us. Really, means a lot.
I was in 01 to 05. I was in Iraq 03 to 04.
And you've been out since when then?
2005.
2005. Okay, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So are you hiking the trail, or what
Yep.
are you doing? Oh, good.
Going all the way to Whitney with this Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's doing good.
Okay, we're about 2 miles outside of where we plan to camp tonight. We're in Kings Canyon. See the river. I think it's the Kern River flows through the Kings Canyon. Got an unbelievably big mountain sitting right there. The wonders of the JMT. So Kath has found a great place to soak her feet after a long, hard day's hiking down from Forester Pass. And the way to a woman's heart, way to a woman's heart is, after a hard day's hiking, is a nice cold stream to soak her feet in. This is our campsite for the night. And Kath says the food is ready. This is our little kitchen area down here that I've set up. So we're getting ready to have mac and cheese tonight. And we're very excited and we're very hungry.
Yes.
Any words of wisdom, Kath?
You know, I always think of something during the day when we're walking, and then I forget what it is because the altitude just fries my brain.
Well, Kath is talking about both of us because we have both what we call altitude Alzheimer's, that we can't remember anything. So that's typical of hiking in these high altitudes. This campground that we're at, I'll let you take a look around at some of the other sites that are here. It's a beautiful area, beautiful trees. You can see some of the other tents that are set up there nearby us. So here we are, folks. It's day 7 of Sam and Kath's great JMT adventure. Kath is in the process of bagging up everything, putting stuff in the bear canisters there so we can get started this morning. I got to thinking this morning when we got up, we only have about 5 miles to go to where our next campsite is. And first portion of that is about a 3-mile hike to Bullfrog Lake Trail, and then another couple of miles over to where we expect to camp tonight. And tomorrow we'll be doing going over Kearsarge Pass to get our resupply in Onion Valley and Independence. So I thought I'd ask Kath a question, because the first 3 miles are, we'll call those her miles, and then the total 5 miles will be all 5 of my miles. So Kath, at home in Robeson, when you hike around with a full pack on, how long does it take you to hike 3 miles, honey?
It usually takes me less than an hour, about 45 minutes, something like that.
And for me, I've been doing the same thing, training at Robeson. I hike about 5 miles with a full pack on my back, and I can do that in an hour 20. Of course, that's at Robeson Ranch, where it's 700 feet altitude and relatively flat. Up here in the Sierra Nevadas, it gets a little more difficult. Honey, how long do you think it's going to take you to hike from here to Bullfrog Lakes, which is 3 miles this morning?
It'll probably take us about 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay, that's her guesstimate, and we're going to see who comes the closest to guessing the time that it will take to get there. I've got 5 miles on my slate today to guess, and I'm going to guess for the full 5 miles it takes us to get to the campground, it's going to take us 5 hours.
We got
And
a
we'll
lot
see.
of up.
Yeah, a lot of up. And we'll see who's the closest.
Just to put this in perspective, yesterday to go up Forester from the base of the switchbacks, less than a mile, it took us an hour.
Yeah, that's true. And all we say is, since today is Sunday,
Praise God.
praise the Lord, absolutely. All right, for all of you people that have never been on a backpacking hike before in the Sierra Nevadas, what I'm demonstrating here is what we call the backpack break. And what that involves is, if you'll look at my posture here, you want to be finding the appropriate size log or boulder, as the case may be, but there's plenty of logs and boulders, and the way that you sit, you got to get a boulder or a log that's wide enough to accommodate first your butt and your pack at the same time, because when it does that, you can rest, the pack rest. It takes the entire load of the pack off of your back, and it feels really good after you've gone uphill about 1,000 feet, doesn't it, Kath?
Sure does.
So that's number one, is the butt and the pack have got to fit. Then make sure that your knee flex is like this, where you're not squatted down so far that once you try to get up again, you will not be able to get up because you got a 40-pound pack in your back.
Sam is eating a fish taco. Lynn, this is for you.
Lynn Morris back at Robeson. This is fish taco. Kath had tuna packets with mayonnaise, and I said I wanted a flour tortilla with it. And so here you go, Lynn. This will be my very first fish taco ever. Let me take a bite. And I'll tell you how good it is.
We've got 2 packages of mayo on it.
That is really good, Lynn. Kath is at that next switchback. She set it up. You can look up above her and see the guy that's going to go all the way to Lake Tahoe on this trip. He started out just the other side of Forester Pass this morning, and he's already here. It took Kath and I basically 2 days to get here. And then there's another gentleman in the next switchback up, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up for well, it's hard to believe, but I'm only about 100 yards from the top of Kearsarge Pass. Pretty iconic looking stone structure there that I recognize from several YouTube videos and some photos. Last 100 yards with me, you can see those folks that are standing at the top up there. They're all getting their pictures taken.
I'm gonna take a couple up there too. All right, here we go. All right, here's Kath. We're standing at the top of Forester Pass.
Yay.
Almost 12,000 feet. We started out at 9,500 feet this morning. This is the view from the side that we hiked up from, which is the west side. And Kath is going to walk around from where she's at. We're going to walk you over to the east side. We're going to be starting down there in just a few minutes. We've already called. We had cell phone reception from the top of the pass. So we're going to get a ride tonight at about 7 o'clock. And this is the view from the west side. See some hikers there going down the trail there, right past Kath's shoulder. So Kath,
Yes?
about a view of what we're taking a look at right now before we start down.
It's just insanely gorgeous. Just absolutely insanely gorgeous.
So was that a pretty good hike today?
It was an up. And take a look. See? A little dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
so
ready for a bath.
we're
Ready
anxious
for a
for a
shower.
bath
Wash
and
clothes tonight.
And my hair.
And her
oh
hair.
Lord, my hair.
Oh yes. She's gonna love having her hair done.
And clean clothes.
Clean clothes. Be awesome. All right. We'll talk to you all later. Morning. Coffee.
Yes.
So, English muffin today.
Same. That would be great.
I'm Mary.
Yes, Mary. We're Sam and Kathy. We were here last week and had breakfast with you. It was very quick, though.
So here we are, back at
Sandwich.
Independence. Thank you. Kath and I are enjoying a fresh cup of coffee after having all that instant coffee we had during the week. And we were lucky enough to get a room last night with Strider at Mount Williamson, so
At the last minute.
the
which is
last
unheard
minute,
of.
awesome. And look at this setup, this table,
Beautiful.
it's great. So here we are at the Mount Williamson Hotel. Cass doing a little dishwashing over there. I had 2 pizzas and half an apple last night, and about a 24-ounce can of Corona beer, which I can show you evidence of here in the trash can. And right next to that Corona can, if you look over there, there's some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I ate basically the whole pint. Kath had maybe 2 bites out of that, but that's a brownie batter corn. Excellent. What a good dinner after having had to boil water and cook our own food. We got up this morning and we went outside. They have their little setup outside for breakfast every morning here at the Mount Williamson Hotel, and sat out on their little picnic table. Had a hiker's breakfast of bacon and eggs, coffee. Kath has fresh English muffin. Kath had some fresh peaches. So it was wonderful. We just went over and raided the hiker boxes over in the Mount Williamson hiker office. We got some pro bars and some fig bars and some bobo bars. And we bought 3 t-shirts with the Mount Williamson Hotel base camp experience there. You can see the logo. They're really good looking shirts. And the great thing about Strider, who's our host here at the Mount Williamson, is she really orients her business here towards the hikers during the hiking season. And we got in about 7 o'clock last night off the trail. And she was nice enough to push, we paid for it, to have our laundry done. But $15 for laundry, and she had it washed and back to our room within an hour. And the loaner clothes we had were these t-shirts that she has for her guests. And so we had a t-shirt and a matching pair of shorts, like swim trunks, that we both used until our clothes were all washed. So we're all clean this morning. We both had Kath had a bath, I had a shower. We got to wash our hair, clean all of the gum out of the inside of our ears. So it was a good night. We had a good night's sleep. Got to sleep on a real bed. Air conditioning was running all night long. All right, so here we are in the shade down at the Courthouse Motel. We moved down here this morning from Mount Williamson Motel, and you can see the Kath is going through our resupply. See those 2 buckets laid out there. The black bucket is stuff that we're going to be mailing home to ourselves. The white bucket is stuff that we're sorting through to determine what we're going to keep for the remainder of the trail and what we're going to get rid of.
And here's what's so silly is when I left, I thought I was really going to need this hairspray.
Yes,
That's going on.
that's going on.
We're in the trash.
And then there, back behind Kath, is the resupply bucket that we're going to mail to ourselves at Reds. That's our third resupply there. All right, we're leaving the Courthouse Motel, and we're walking down to the post office,
I lost you.
which is about a half a block up the street here. see it seems to be rush hour here in Independence. Got a lot of traffic flowing through here. It's Monday morning. Actually Monday about noon. There's Mary Austin's home, 1/4 mile down there. And there's the Onion Valley Trailhead sign, which is where we'll be going tomorrow morning. Kath and I are going to be picked up at 9:30 by our transportation people, and they'll be hauling us up there. You can see Kath's got one resupply bucket. I'm carrying the other one. The one I've got's going to Red's Meadow. Should be our last resupply. The bucket that Kath is carrying is stuff we're shipping back to ourselves that we don't need. And that building right there is the post office. Woohoo! All right, you heard the lady. It's lunchtime and we're getting ready to sit down here. We did our sorting back here in this corner in the shade while we're waiting for our rooms to be clean. So we're gonna sit down and have lunch. And we went down to the local Exxon station. We got a very delicious lunch. We're gonna have chips, we're gonna have bologna sandwiches, we're gonna have turkey sandwiches, ham sandwiches. Kath got herself an iced tea, and I got myself a A&W cream soda. And for dessert, we're gonna have cookies. Hiker lunch.
Hiker hunger.
All right, we finally got our room at the Courthouse Motel. It's room number 10. Getting ready to entree. So we've got that for tonight. There's Kath already moving her stuff in. Here's my big old pack. You see, that's a pretty good load. Pretty strong guy for 70 years old. I'd hate to hike the trail this way though. Okay. So, here I am with a gift in my hand from a pair of hikers that we met at the very beginning of our hike at Cottonwood Pass. They were actually going to be a day ahead of us according to what their scheduling said, and they were laying over at the same place that we were going to be laying over, which is where we're at this morning at the Courthouse Motel. The names were Josh and Phil, and they got to talking about how the night before they started, they had drank almost a half a bottle of whiskey. And I said, well, as long as you're staying where we're staying, why don't you just drop it off at the hotel for us and we'll pick it up when we get there. And they said, yeah, of course we will. And I thought, you know, it's just one of those things they're going to say, yeah, because everybody's trying to be nice out here. But this is what happens on the trail. We get to our hotel yesterday, and the manager says, I've got something for you. And guess what? He pulls out, and there's a little note. It says to Sam and Kathy from Josh and Phil, happy trails. So I'm going to do the honors. It's Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And as you can see, there's about a half a bottle left, so they didn't suck on this thing too much more than they had before the night before they left. I'm going to uncork it. That's real whiskey, folks. This is an iced tea in there. And here we go. Phil, Josh, to you, happy trails. Good stuff.
So we're into our second mile on the way back up Kearsarge after resupplying. Pulled over here for a little breather. Beautiful spot. See that huge mountain with all the snow on it there. And immediately below it's that one waterfall. And you come down to that little marshy meadow area there, and you can see a little lake down there. And Kath was supposed to stay in the frame, but she didn't. You have a beautiful tree right there. Kath would have been there. And then you can look up there, there's another beautiful waterfall just to the right of that tree coming down there. So it's just too good to be good up here. So Kath and I just took a little pack break. We are going to try to make the summit of Kearsarge Pass this afternoon. Started about 10:30 this morning, and we should be up at the top there around 3 or 3:30.
We just filtered some water,
I was going to say, yeah.
and we were down by the stream down there, and there's a lot of foliage, a lot of bushes and stuff. And we heard snorting.
Yeah.
So there was a bear down there somewhere.
Kath wanted to make it a bear. I thought it could have been maybe a lost oxen.
A lost what?
Oxen.
Oxen.
Or possibly a hippopotamus, because there is a lake.
Bear.
There is a lake down there.
Yeah. But
So
we started talking really loud about how we had to hike up the hill, and I started
banging her
my
poles together.
poles together, and we didn't meet the bear.
We didn't meet whatever it was, honey. I still think it could be a lost oxen.
Yeah, maybe it was a blue jay.
Back from when they were mining gold out of them bar hills.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
All right, let's do it. Let's get on it.
All right.